Let me ask you this question: have you listened to any of the 3D meditations that I have?
No, but I just noticed them, and I was thanks very much. You just gave me my next question before it came out of my mouth. I wanted to ask you about the 3D meditations. Now, what is unique about the 3D meditation?
Yeah, these 3D meditations are unlike anything that anyone's ever heard. Basically, how that came to be was I was on YouTube, and I caught wind of 3D sound, and I was listening to little little clips of people doing virtual haircuts with like scissors or popping balloons or in the garage throwing keys across the room. And the way this 3D microphone captured the surroundness, it blew my mind. And I was thinking, I'm like, wow, to create audios with this would be amazing because there's so much we can do. So then I started looking at 3D microphones, and these bad guys are big money. I mean, you're talking thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for these microphones, and I'm like, I'm not spending that much money on a microphone. So I did a little more research, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just make my own. So that's what I did. And basically this mic, I created a microphone. It's virtually a mannequin, and it has binaural microphones in the ears, and I built eardrums and ear canals and the whole thing. So when I'm talking to this mannequin, it's as if I'm talking to the listener. So their sense of perception knows where I am. They know if I'm in back of them, if I'm to the left, if I'm to the right. They know if I'm right in front of their face, if I say things in your ear. Literally, I am right next to you. Your mind cannot decipher that I'm not. That's how real that experience is. So with those 3D meditations, the best way to describe it is pretty much you can hear me everywhere all at once. And it's just, those are amazing. The results from people listening to those two are something that is just fantastic. You have to wear headphones with those. Without the headphones, you don't hear the 3D. But when you put on the headphones, man, it's as if you're in the middle of a room and I'm right there with you, and I'm walking all around, and the sensation is exactly that I am there with you, because I am. Because the way it's captured, I'm talking to you, because I'm talking to this mannequin. So that is you, the way it picks up the sound.
Well, that's very interesting. Let me ask you something, because I'm a technical type person. How did you build? I mean, when you say you have a mannequin, you mean literally a store mannequin?
Yeah. Yeah. Cut the ears off.
Because building a microphone is no easy feat. So walk me through that. I mean, because I find this interesting. So please, how did you construct this 3D microphone?
Well, you can look up on Google how to make binaural microphones, and that's what I did. So I just watched other people's tutorials, and then I got a mannequin, and first thing I did was I took my grinder and I lopped off the mannequin ears, and I built the best I could human exact ear canals and eardrums, and I placed the microphones. I looked up some stuff online and found exactly the distance apart and how far in the head and what kind of tissue and bone is around it, and I duplicated that to the best I could.
Wow.
So I even put on silicone ears so they pick up the vibration if I'm really close. You'll feel that tingle. It'll mimic that. And basically that's the microphone. I am talking to this unit. I'm not in a sound booth. I'm not holding a microphone. I'm in a room walking around this object as the person. So it picks up the sound as if I am in the room exactly.
Wow. Silicone.
Yeah,
so
really cool. Really cool stuff.
So you not only enhanced the mannequin's hearing, you gave it a bit of a facelift too. You gave it new ears.
New ears, yeah. Silicone. That way, if I'm yelling, they'll vibrate just like our ears would if you hear someone close to you or far away. It picks up. It creates that same sensation.
Now, see, I would not have thought of that. I would not. I mean, I might have stumbled upon the idea of building the microphones into the head, but I don't think I'd have come up with putting the silicone ears on. That's pretty clever. I'm impressed. That is something. That's, and it shows because it shows the level that you're willing to go to, to make these things as effective as possible, as opposed to someone that just hangs out a shingle and says, "Yeah, I'm making meditation videos." Okay, your eyes are getting sleepy. Okay, now you're meditating. Because there's a lot of, let's face it, there's a lot of shysters out there in every field, even the metaphysics field. Fortunately, I've been blessed enough to have met a lot of good people, but there are definitely some people who are not above board. So the fact that you take this kind of time is just absolutely amazing. And I just, we have somebody new that came into the room, so I just want to recap for them real quickly. Walk with Spirit. Paul, we covered this at the beginning, so if you listen to the archives, you'll hear it again, but Paul got into his meditations pretty much from a very spiritual experience he had at a conference that he was at. He basically was just told by the inner voice to start doing it, which is part of the reason we have him on, because he's very, very interesting and goes completely on his intuition, which is what makes his all of his audio meditations so interesting. So I just wanted to recover that for somebody who's a late arrival here, Paul. So just bear with me.
Sure.
Now you and I I just want to deviate a little bit for a second. Now you're a very upbeat guy. Nothing seems to get you down, but we're both from the same neck of the woods. And I have to ask you this because the last time I went to Boston, I was up there a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I decided to take a ride to the Garden. I wanted to go in and get some Bruins merchandise. And thanks to the purveyors of the Big Dig, I felt like Charlie on the MTA. I couldn't get out of Boston. I kept getting routed in these weird directions because everything's been changed. The elevated roadway is gone. Exits that were once there are not there. I got to see East Boston 3 times. I got to see the airport 3 times. I got to see the Schrafft's Candy Building again 3 times. How do you drive through that and not want to just pull your eyeballs out of your head?
My answer is very simple. There's 2 places I go to in Boston. I go to Hot Pot Buffet in Chinatown, so I only need to know how to get there and get back, and then I'll go to the North End at 2, 3 in the morning to grab some pastries. So that's it. Otherwise, I hear what you're saying, man. I don't play that game. I stay away because, like you said, the road you take at 8 a.m., it's not going to be there when you leave at 7. The whole road, the whole unit, the whole bridge will be gone. It's just, you can't even understand how they do that stuff. So I only go to 2 places. Otherwise, I stay on the other side of the highway.
Yeah, it's just, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I came in here, wait a second. I was born and raised here. Why don't I know where I'm going? Wait, how did I get over it? Why am I in Revere? And it just kept getting worse. It was like a running joke. And every time I thought I had a good beat on something and said, okay, I'll go this. I remember this. I remember how to cut through East Boston. I'll go by the King Arthur Motel. I'll be fine. I'll get my bearings again. And here I would come back around and go, wait, why am I, what's going on here? And it was just, I said, man, whoever developed this really had evil intent in mind, because it'll just drive you absolutely nuts.
Plus, if you get stuck in the tunnels, in the tunnel route, every time you take a wrong turn, it's $12.
Yes.
So then you spend the day spending hundreds of dollars. Keep going. You just go in circles. Yeah.
Yep.
Just stay away.
I'm telling you, I felt like Charlie on the MTA. I'll never return. I won't ever be able to get off. I'll just be stuck in Boston forever till I run out of gas, and then maybe I'll walk home. I don't know. It's just, but it was very disheartening for somebody that spent his youth hooking school and going in to get Bruins tickets for games to go back to the area and go, wait, why don't I know where anything is? Why do I feel like an out-of-towner here? And it was just, and so that's why I had to ask. I said, this place would give an aspirin a headache. Let me see if it'll give the guy who's always upbeat a headache. And apparently they did a real good job, because you stay away from it because you know it'll give you a headache too.
Yeah, I just stay away. One thing we can clarify a little bit on how I tend to stay upbeat and positive is anytime there's a magic portal that opens within all of us, that anytime there's intense pleasure or intense negative emotion. So if something, I'm not Superman, I'm human. So things present themselves that do get me annoyed and they do get me frustrated, and sometimes I do get really, really mad. However, in that moment of that being angry, I harness that energy, that buzz that I'm feeling, and instead of feeling upset or mad, I focus on the things I want. So I actually use that experience of that emotion and I redirect it into the positive. So when I'm annoyed or frustrated, I actually become self-empowered in that moment. I consciously make the decision to use that energy to my advantage instead of becoming a victim of that experience.
Well, that is.
But
excellent.
Otherwise, I'm just the same. I'm human, just like all of us, and I feel the same emotions that we all feel. I'm able now to direct and to notice when if I'm not feeling good and I'm feeling upset, I redirect that energy back into my control.
Excellent
advice. So when you do that, you actually get excited when you get mad. So how many people listening can actually look forward to getting pissed off? Because there's opportunity there. There's potential. There's portals. There's opportunity to focus on what you want and to vibrate, to change how you're vibrating to the universe. It's really cool.
I love that. Paul, I have to go give that quote to my wife, because my wife is under the impression that I look forward to getting pissed off. That's great. And that's the other thing. I married somebody from New York, and she just does not get the whole Massachusetts thing. Just like I don't get the whole New York thing. And she does not understand us at all. She does not get our twisted sense of humor. She doesn't get the weird way that we look at things. But that's one thing I've noticed, is that anybody I ever talk to from home, we are, and I know this is true for everybody. I'm not saying we're number one and everybody else is number two. It's interesting how your own stomping grounds, where we choose to be born into in this life, has its own unique flavor and its own unique personality. Because I've been over a lot of the United States, I've been up into Canada, and nobody is like us. Nobody is like Massachusetts people. We are uniquely twisted in such a way that we can all talk to one another. But it seems like when other people encounter us, they kind of have the RCA dog reaction, where they tilt their head just a little bit to the side. They're not quite sure what to make of us.
Yeah, no, that's true. No doubt.
All right, now, I know we spoke about this, but I just, and not to take away from you, this is another of your experiences I just want to talk about. We talked at the beginning of the show about Laurie, who was my first metaphysics teacher. Can you just recap for our audience, because I've told them the story about Laurie many times, how you came to meet Laurie Cabot, because it's a very interesting lady. So how did you come across her path?
Sure. Let's see, we'll probably got to go back to 99, 2000, somewhere around there. I was into the infomercial business, and I looked in the yellow pages for a local studio, because back then we used, remember the RDAT tape format? And I had an RDAT tape of a radio commercial that I wanted to change the 800 number on, and I found a guy in my own town who had a studio that I never knew, and I went there and became good friends with him after that, and then he's the one who knew and did all the work with Laurie. So we'd be at the studio and we'd be hanging out and doing stuff, and Laurie would always just kind of show up. So that's how I got to know Laurie. And to be honest with you, where you were telling me before and on this show how Laurie was your teacher, I didn't even know she taught. I just knew her literally that much on a personal one-on-one level. I didn't even know what she did outside of her focus. So that was interesting to learn that from you. So thank you for that. But that's how I got to know Laurie. And, that evolved into some TV commercials and TV spots to help move some of our products and things like that. But she's a great lady. And I just saw her again back in Halloween in Salem, and it was good to see her again. And we caught up, for about 15, 20 minutes, and then she had a line of people wanting to take a picture and all that good stuff. So, yeah, she's a great girl, great lady.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, again, just funny that you should end up having to know her. Well, she did her classes, and this goes, well, I've got 15 years on you, so when I was taking her classes, you were probably about 10 or 12. So that would explain why you would. Well, how old were you in 1986?
9.
Okay, well, that would explain why you didn't know she taught, because that was when she gave her classes. And I remember, well, we spoke about Salem being such a great city, and for those of you who aren't fortunate enough, who've never been to Salem, Massachusetts, the town itself is probably the most eclectic group ever. And Paul raised a great point when we were speaking on the phone, and he said that it's people, there's no, and pardon my French, there's no bullshit in Salem. People just are who they are. And they're allowed to be who they are. And the funny thing about it is you've got a huge cross-section. You've got artists, you've got Wiccans, you've got mediums, you've got card readers, you've got just regular Joe people, and they all seem to exist in this little microcosm of a town without anyone giving anybody else a backwards glance about what they do, how they dress, who they are.
Yeah. And they support each other locally.
Yes.
They all support each other. Yeah.
Yep.
Business-wise, restaurants, cafes, bookstores, clothing stores, they all support each other's creativity and uniqueness.
Yep. So I would suggest to anyone, if you're going to take a vacation and you really want to go to a truly spiritual place, and this, I don't want to sound like an ad for Salem, but I'll be singing the Spirit of Massachusetts song in a minute. Salem is a great place to go for those of you who are, of our ilk, of the spiritual, on the path, metaphysical type people. That's a great place to go. The energy there is fantastic. It's just absolutely innately positive. It's a beautiful place. It's right on the water. It's gorgeous in its scope. It's really something in the summertime. Beautiful cobblestone streets. So, without taking away from my guest, but that's something we share in common, is that we're both very into that place, and I just thought that, and as Don mentioned, it's very historical. A lot has happened there. So if you can get the chance, definitely Salem. So Paul, what's on the horizon for you? Do you have anything, cooking that's going to be, volcanic in its scope? Any huge things in the offing for your YouTube subscribers?
It's a good question. Exactly what's coming, I have no clue. But recently I did get the feeling to ante up and to expand. So right now I'm in the process of finishing construction on 4 or 5 new sets. So there's going to be a lot of content coming and flowing very soon from me, in addition to a lot more meditations. Like I said, I have to wait till when that feeling comes in, that's when I'll create them and give them back out. So the meditations I don't think about. The feeling has come in for me to create. So I am in the process of finishing up new studios with a bunch of new sets. So there's going to be interviews, there's going to be updates, there's going to be more of the Paul Santisi Show. There's a lot going on with the Paul Santisi Music Mastermind music group and all those involved with that. There's a lot coming. Exactly what? No clue. But I know there's a lot that's going to be flowing.
Okay, great. And that leads me, and again, thank you again. You just led me to my next question. I wanted to ask you about the Paul Santisi Show. Now, did that come as a result of you doing these meditations, or was that there first? Because it looks very polished and it looks very professional. It doesn't look like something somebody threw together in a weekend.
Yeah, that came as a result of people wanting to know more. Collectively, there's thousands of comments and emails that are correspondences that are coming in each week. And if I read all of them, and collectively, they're only in a few groups. Otherwise, every question kind of falls into that category. So with the Paul Santisi Show, that was a way for me to get out in front on camera so people could connect with me eye to eye, see who I am, get to know me at a whole different level, and then learn information on that show that I probably won't put on a meditation audio. So it allows me to just educate and give people more information that they can absorb, chew on, digest, apply, and see results.
Okay, well, I have
that all came from the meditations. I really, if we back up, my intention with, like you said before, there's a lot of people that are shysters in any industry, really. See, a lot of people create meditation because they want to make money or they want to sell it. They don't give two craps about the listener. They're ego-driven. They want the feeling that they created a meditation or that they wrote a book or that they're on YouTube or whatever it is. So that's why when you listen to most, not all, but most meditations, it may sound good. The music might be nice. The delivery might be clean, might be nice and crisp audio. But 10 minutes into it, you're bored. You're like, yeah, whatever. I guess this isn't for me. It's because that person's intention wasn't harnessed the way I harness it. Their intention was ego-driven or self-pacification, where when I create these audios, my only intention is to help one person feel better about themselves. I don't care if anyone buys it. I don't care anything about that. All I want is one person to feel better about themselves. So my internal vibration, my intention is 99.99999% of the audio. And that, I believe, is what allows people to feel where I'm coming from and to go on that experience with me, because that's what my intention is. It's not to sell audios or to be on TV or anything like that. It's to help one person feel better about themselves, because that's the only way we can create a collective positive change in this world, is if we all feel better. You could have 100 million people saying, yes, I want the world to be a better place. But if they're all vibrating and feeling like crap, nothing's ever going to happen. If you have 100 million people who feel better that say nothing, that's going to cause infinite change instantly. So I work from the inside out, and a lot of people work on the outside and don't even work on the inside. I'm not technical. Like I said, in my audios, if you listen, I don't use the right words. My grammar's no good sometimes. If I mess up or what I think is a mess, I leave it. I don't cut it out. I leave the human aspect in there, and then I don't edit it. So I'm pulling the listener along that line of intention with me, and it's allowing them to create their own experience through that audio. And, if there was one thing that, how do you get so many listeners? That's what I would say, is I just focus on one person feeling better about themselves. That's all I desire. The rest will present itself. And it is, and it does, and it will.
Well, I think that's an excellent way of looking at it. I mean, that's something that we try to subscribe to here as well. I mean, we're not, we don't have the reach of a mainstream media radio show, but again, it's one at a time, one person at a time. And if you can give that one person at a time something to hold on to and something to take from it that's positive, then again, it's as if you're changing the whole world, because it's one person you've helped get to a positive state. Now they'll go and help somebody. It's that old pay it forward thing. But I have to disagree with you on one thing. There is nothing wrong with your grammar. You're from Massachusetts. Your grammar is just fine. We don't need the letter R. I'm sorry, folks. We just don't need it. There's nothing wrong with our grammar.
No, we don't need the R's. However, I'm talking like this freely now, but when I do make these audios, I got to keep in mind that I do have the world as my audience and language barriers and everything else. So I do my best to slow it down and speak a little more clearly. But so far, so good.
I know. I've had to do that. I did that for years, being down here, because when I first moved down here, I got really tired of people. Hey, come over here. Yeah? Say car for this guy. I said, oh, come on. Really? Really? Because nobody, and it's, hey, say park your car in Harvard Yard. I said, nobody parks their car in Harvard Yard. It doesn't happen. It's just not something, I don't know where that came from, but I understand exactly what you mean. If you don't, because some of our slang is it's so localized. You will say something and people are just completely dumbfounded. To give you a quick example, if I needed something, I would say to my wife, "Yeah, I got to go down to the pot store and get this." What's the pot store? No, not the pot store. The pot store. No, you said no. I said, oh, forget it. So I definitely get it, but it's definitely wicked awesome or a wicked pisser.
Yeah, and then we say, "What do you mean?" Yeah, what do you mean? WADDAAAAA mean. What do you mean? Not what. I can't even say what do you mean by that. I can't. It hurts. It's a struggle.
Yep.
So yeah.
Well, it's like the people down here. I mean, I can't grasp the whole fact that I don't. For all of the R dropping that we do down here, they insert letters that don't belong. What is a cup of coffee? CAWFFE? Coffee? Or what's a dog?
No idea.
DAWG? Dog? What's a dog? So it's just one of those fun things that when you get to, and I had that. We went to I was in Pennsylvania years ago touring with a band, and we stopped for subs. And again, because up there where we are, there's subs, right? You want to go get a sub, and we walk in, and I said to the guy, "Yeah, can I get a meatball sub?" "What's a sub?" I said, "A sub, a sandwich. I want a meatball sub." "We don't have those." I said, "You don't?" I said, "What's that behind you?" And this big picture of the guy turned around. He goes, "Oh, that's a hoagie." I said, "What?" "No, it's a sub." "No, it's a hoagie." "What's a hoagie?" At least sub
what is
makes
a hoagie?
Sense. Sub, all right, it's the shape of a submarine. That's why it's a submarine sandwich. What the heck is a hoagie? So everything is definitely local. There was a great line out of Smokey and the Bandit where he says to when he was comparing notes with Sally Field about, well, do you like this? No. Do you like that? No. Do you like this? No. Oh, we don't have anything in common. And he said, it all depends on what part of the United States you're standing in as to just how dumb you are. I thought, yeah, because if you're just not from someplace, boy, you're going to look really stupid. But it's always fun. It's a lot of fun to talk to people from your own stomping grounds because it's just so much easier. Especially with us, there is no language barrier. You can talk freely, and nobody looks at you like you're from the planet Zunev or something of that nature. But now you have this fantastic channel. You have the Paul Santisi Show. Has this basically become your vocation? Because this looks like a full-time gig to me.
Yeah, that's it. This is my intention and desire now is just to continue to share content that people can apply in their life, and it makes it really easy, and it makes it really fun, and it makes everything really pleasurable. Because, like I said, I never know when that feeling's gonna hit me next. So it's a wild ride that I'm embracing and enhancing and putting back out there. And everything that I create and that I will continue to create, I share for free. So I'm not one of those guys that makes a program that says, "Oh, you got to buy it." If I create it, you get it. You can listen to it, and that's worked out really well for me. Well,
I have to say, looking at your Facebook page, I don't mean to keep going back to the coin, but for some reason I keep getting drawn back to the coin. You got a real fan on there with one of these coins, the guy that's holding it in the kind of the like in the symbol of the third eye. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, people post pictures all day long with their coin, and these are people all over the world. The coin is in every country in the world, so no matter where you are, you can find somebody with that coin in their pocket.
Yeah, now. Can I ask you something? How did you have these made? Did you have a local company actually turn these out? How were these done? Because it's very detailed.
Yeah, it's really nice. I found a great guy out in New Jersey, a manufacturer.
Wow.
And I designed the thing in Photoshop, and I called up and got the owner of the company on the phone, and I said, "This is what I want made," and he said, "Tell me what you want," and I told him the materials and the 3D and the etching, and he created it. I don't know how, but he did.
Well, it looks great. I mean, the work on it looks fantastic. As I said, it's very detailed.
Yeah, they're very detailed, very heavy too. But these things are solid. They're yeah, coin's great. Wait do you hold it? You'll see. You'll feel it.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so now I've managed to get up your YouTube link, your Facebook link, and your Paul Santisi show link. Am I missing anything? Because you have so many irons in the fire. I'm sure I'm missing a website someplace.
Have you listened to any of the music, the Paul Santisi Music Mastermind music, that on YouTube?
No, I can
if you
see
look,
it. So I wanted, again,
if you
all
look,
right, now
you'll
I wanted to
see it.
Yep, I wanted to ask you about that because you had mentioned it earlier. Is this a group of musicians that you're involved with? It's the same guys that make all this music? Can you explain that to us?
Sure. And how this came about is just amazing on its own. A lot of people started emailing me, what can I listen to during the day? Or what can I listen to at work? Or what can I listen to at the gym? Your meditations are long, or they get me really relaxed, and I have kids, I'm busy. People have a life. So then I was thinking, well, maybe I'll make some music, and maybe I'll do it. So I tried making my own music, and just no. So not going to go down that road. So then I threw out a command to the universe to attract people who had listened to my audios that had positive experiences that were musically inclined to contact me. So I threw the command out to the universe and I let it go. And then a couple weeks later or a month later, I don't remember, I started getting these emails from this guy down south. His name was Tweezay. Excuse me. And he started explaining to me these amazing experiences that he was having with the audios, the astral projection, the lucid dreaming, the awakening, and this experience. And we went back and forth 3 or 4 emails over a couple of weeks. And then finally I'm like, so what do you do down there? And he goes, I'm a singer-songwriter. And I'm like, wow, here it is. Fantastic. So I'm like, can you send me some of your music? And he did. And it was fantastic. It was hardcore rap, but it was fantastic. So then I got him on the phone, and I'm like, hey, listen, what do you think about creating positive music for people with positive intention? Because there's some things about intention that I apply into my audios, and I'm thinking, well, if I share it with this guy and he applies it, we'll get a similar result. And then this way we're giving people something to listen to during the day. So then he created a couple songs, and the response was amazing, and people started loving them. So then him and I kind of put a mastermind together, if you will, over the phone, and then we sent the command out to the universe to attract more like-minded artists that listened to my audios that had experiences that would like to make music. And that's how we started. And that hasn't even been a year. And I believe we're up to 12, 16, somewhere in there, different artists from all over the world in all different genres. And what's really exciting about this is the Paul Santisi Music Mastermind, the tagline is a collective collaboration in musical consciousness. So now we have artists from all over the world working with one another, collectively creating new positive feel-good music. And when an artist presents themselves to me, I just don't post their music. What I do is I get them on the phone, we start talking, and then if they're ready, or if I get that sense of that feeling, I share with them what I use with intention and what I do myself. And then I say, now go create music. Then they'll create that song after that conversation that we had. So these aren't just songs that other people already had that I posted. These are songs that were created with the intention after they expressed an interest in what I have available and then embraced what I shared and then applied it. So there's a whole dynamic that you don't find in music that is a part of all these songs and all these musicians. So they're just not, and if you listen to them, I do give you an introduction to the artist and I tell you what their intention is for the song. And that's really important. So the listener knows where they're coming from and they can know and expect how to feel after they listen to the song. So that's really becoming amazing. And we do have an app coming for iPhone and Android where people will be able to create playlists, and it's just another way, another tool for people to keep their vibration high, to keep themselves focused through the music.
Well, it's an excellent idea. And again, you said you thought about creating your own. Are you a musician at all?
No. I
Okay.
played trombone in 5th grade, and I destroyed Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I received no applause. And
I love those stories. I love them because I've been a musician my whole life, and I love the stories when I ask somebody, because you know what's more entertaining? It's that. It's more entertaining to hear that story than it is for somebody like, yeah, I'm a musician, all right, big deal. But when I hear the old, I played trombone in 5th grade, or, well, I played the recorder at my 1st grade. When I hear those, I just crack up. I love those stories. Those are great. But the reason I'm asking is because, and obviously, this is something that you either knew inherently, again, knew at your spirit level, or was told to you by musicians. But of course, music is a huge tool for opening the chakras, for opening your third eye, for opening you up spiritually, because we all resonate. Not only do we all resonate at a certain frequency, we all resonate at a specific note. I know my note is A. But we all resonate at a specific note. So music is hugely instrumental in creating, and a lot of times creating the proper setting for a lot of spiritual things to happen. So the idea that you knew to contact these guys and want that intent from them, as opposed to, well, I'm just going to take whatever they give me musically, again, shows a huge amount of awareness on you. And I don't mean to sound like I'm shining you on. This is legit. I mean, and this is coming from somebody who's been a musician for 43 years of their life. This is huge because the intent on, and I'll give you an example. You may have seen this. Have you seen the experiments that Dr. Masuri did with frozen water?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that when he played like really violent rap or really violent like industrial metal music at it, it froze in this really disgusting shape. Yep. And when he played things like Beethoven and Bach, and it froze into like a snowflake. So the intent in what you use to create your music is huge, and it will definitely bring that emotion or that spiritual feeling that you're intending to put out to somebody. And if it's a negative feeling, you're definitely going to produce more negativity. So I think that that's fantastic that you knew this to just not tell somebody, yeah, send me what you've got and I'll use it, but you actually wanted to know what their intent was. That is, again, I am very impressed.
Yeah, well, that's because if I'm going to share it, it has to line up with the things that I'm applying. So when these musicians reach out to me, they're already listening to these audios. So they're already dialed into a certain degree. So then when I have this conversation on intention, I mean, I share things with these guys that who knows if I'll even ever put them on audio. I mean, that's just how, oh my God, they are. And when these individuals, when these guys and these girls internalize it and apply it and then create through that, that's why these songs, if you listen to these songs, I never ask you, comment and tell us what you think. Because what someone thinks doesn't mean anything, because 99.9% of the time it's their ego who answers, and that's convoluted. That's not accurate. So I never ask anybody, tell us what you think. I always say, comment on how you feel. Comment on how you feel. Because even if someone listens to a song, you'll like this. If someone listens to one of the songs we have posted and they don't like it, see, they're like, yeah, that thing stinks. I don't like that song. Well, that's perfect. That's fine. That's terrific. Because at some point in their life, whether it's a few days, a couple weeks, a couple months, some situation, circumstance, or event is going to present something to them where they're going to get that same feeling. And they're going to go, oh my God, I have that feeling, and I feel so, this is awesome what's happening, but I have that same feeling as I did when I listened to that song I thought I didn't like. So the positive feel-good song actually gave you the feeling that you desired. You just weren't aware enough to connect it with this. So even if someone listens to it, which all the songs are great, but you can't please the world, and none of us are trying to, that person will have that cognition to where they'll make that connection with going back to that song.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, music has been, well, forever. It's been a huge vehicle to spur a lot of different feelings, and a lot of them spiritual. I mean, if you look at some of the tribal drumming that's been done throughout the ages by Native Americans and African tribes and stuff, you listen to that. Yep. Especially
moves
and again,
you.
Being a drummer, this affects me greatly. When you listen to what they create, basically is almost a chain or train of drums where they're all playing something slightly different and slightly out of phase of the other, but it's all in the same time signature, and it helps that entrainment. It's definitely very effective in getting you into that alpha state or deeper, even a theta state, so that you can do this fantastic work. And I think probably one of the most useful instruments because they're very tribal, they're very physical, they're very sensual, and they speak to a part of us, the human part of us, that animal part that's still prevalent in us. And it's that old music soothes the savage breast or savage beast, if you will. And by using the drums in this way, and some of the ones that I've listened to over the years have been very, very good for creating just exactly the right feeling. And so I'm very into that whole tribal drumming. It's just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it's great stuff.